Welcome to Kóryos, Youth and Life Purpose, a podcast for young people searching for meaning, connection and a deeper understanding of life. I'm Nilo, and together we'll explore Indo-European spirituality and personal growth. In a world where many feel lost, this podcast is a place to rediscover purpose and a natural lifestyle. Whether you're just beginning your journey or looking to deepen your practice, Kóryos is here to guide and inspire. Let's walk this path together. Hello and welcome to a new episode. Today we're going to talk about Indo-European spirituality, but not in the big, dramatic way it's sometimes framed. Not temples or rituals or ancient text, but the way it lives in everyday life. The way it shows up, softly and steadily, in the small things we often overlook. You don't have to climb a mountain to feel connected to something greater. Sometimes it's as simple as watching the sunrise. And just as the sun sets each evening and rises again every morning, we too are a part of this divine rhythm. We belong to the universal flow just as much as the flowers, trees, birds, and the sun itself. And when we realize this, life suddenly feels a lot deeper and more meaningful. Have you ever stepped outside early in the morning, before the noise, before the traffic, and just looked and observed what you see? Try to capture that moment when the sky slowly turns and the first light breaks across the rooftops or through the trees. That's Hausos, our Indo-European goddess of the dawn. It's not just a sunrise, but a living presence of our goddess. And when you see it that way, even a simple morning can feel like a sacred moment. The presence of Hausos reminds us to begin each day with noble intentions. And for me at least, it serves as a daily reminder of the divine and the importance of making the most out of every single day. And this is what I mean when I say that spirituality isn't something separate from everyday life. I mean that it's woven into it, baked right into the rhythm of your day. You could say it's in the changing sky, in the feel of the wind, the way light touches water, and the way you interact with your family and friends. Living life itself is an act of spirituality. Every breath, every step, and just living your life carries the sacred within it. You're living it right now. And to be fully present, and to appreciate the simple beauty around you, and to understand your role in the all, is spirituality in its absolutely purest form. And the great thing about this is that you don't need to do anything special to find it. All you need to do is to notice and be aware of your part in the order of everything. Today we live in big cities, and even if we're surrounded by concrete and screens, the wheel of the year is still turning like it's always been. The old Indo-European traditions, they knew and cherished this deeply. The 4 seasons weren't just weather, they were the breathing of the world. Spring wasn't just a time for flowers, it was renewal. Summer was abundance. Autumn was harvest and letting go. And winter was a time for rest and deep reflection. We may not farm anymore, we may not experience life exactly the way our ancestors did, but we can still feel all of these things. If you think about it, how do you feel when spring starts to stir in the air after a long, dark and cold winter? How do your energy levels change in the summer sun compared to the darkness of November? These things still shape us as humans. The seasons speak to something very deep in our blood and our DNA. Something that has always amazed me is spring. How do the trees know when to bloom? How does spring know when to wake up the flowers? And who tells the geese when to fly? Or perhaps what whispers to the mushrooms that it's time to rise? All of these things that happen not only in spring but in all the seasons is divine. The world is a divine order and everything is connected. And you are a part of this. And when we begin to pay attention to these cycles, really watch them and study them, we start to feel our place in it all. We start to realize that we're not above nature, and we're not separate from it like some other religious worldviews suggest. We are a part of the cycle. And you are not just a bystander or a spectator of the world. You are woven into the pattern of the universe. You are a part of Kóryos. And this is maybe the most important part of this episode. That you have a place in this rhythm, in the divine order. And what made me realize all of this was when I started spending more time outdoors. It all began when I started to surround myself with trees, animals, and I started to feel a deep urge to reconnect with Mother Nature. And if you want to experience this for yourself, a great starting point could be to go on longer hikes. And you could start by just taking weekly or daily walks in a park or a foresty area near you. And this is beneficial, but the experience of nature becomes much more profound when you spend several days outside under the open sky of Dios Pater. So, to clarify for those who don't know, who listen to this right now, Dios Pater is the god of the endless sky. Dios Pater literally means Sky Father, and he is considered one of the most important gods in the Indo-European pantheon. And every time you are outside in nature, every time you look up at the endless blue sky, you are looking right at Dios Pater, the Sky Father. And there's something truly special about waking up in a tent, surrounded by towering trees reaching up to the heavens, and just being present there. During my pilgrimage hike to Old Uppsala, I was fortunate enough to experience this connection in a powerful way. And this is something I am deeply grateful for. So if you're listening to this, don't hesitate. Get out there and immerse yourself in nature. When you light a candle at dusk, when you leave a small offering beneath a tree, when you pause to give thanks for a warm meal or a gentle breeze, you're participating in the eternal order of life, and you fulfill your role. Many people who are beginning their spiritual journey often feel overwhelmed by advice they find online. There's always people telling them how to pray or how to build a relationship with the divine. And while spiritual practice and forms of worship are deeply important, they can easily become overwhelming, and especially in the early stages. So if you're just starting out your spiritual journey, or even if you are a few years into your journey like I am, please remember this: there is no need to rush. A wonderful way to begin deepening your connection with the divine is to learn about your ancestors. You can also learn about your family history and the myths and traditions of your people. And through understanding where you come from, you naturally open the doors to where you are meant to go. And trust that your way of practice and how you connect with the gods, ancestors, and spirits will come naturally. So many of us feel disconnected, especially us belonging to the younger generation. We scroll endlessly on social media. We work jobs that leave us drained of creative energy and motivation. But underneath all of that, the seasons are still turning, and the divine is still present. And no matter how hard life might feel at times, it is very important to remember this. Sunna, the goddess of the sun, and Zeus Pater, the sky father, will always be present when looking up each day, just as it's been for thousands of years. And you still belong to that rhythm, no matter how far away you feel from it. And the path of Indo-European spirituality is not about escaping into the past or an historical era. It's about bringing that ancient knowledge and awareness into the now and present. It's about learning to see the sacred in the ordinary and simple. So, next time you step outside in the early morning, look for Hausos, the dawn goddess. Next time you feel the first warm wind of spring, let it stir something in you. Let it refill your energy and motivation. And next time you see a tree budding or a crow circling overhead, pay close attention, because there's wisdom in those little things. There's a quiet kind of magic in the everyday. And if you start to notice them, honoring them, you step back into the rhythm. You return to the divine cycle. And most importantly, you remember who you are and you fulfill your role in the eternal order of life. You take your place in Kóryos. That's all for today. Thank you for listening and have a good one until the next one.